Yes, yes. Welcome to another episode of Motherfucking Valuable Perspectives. I'm super excited. We have another dope brother with us today, Sean from NFT Talks, man. Thank you for joining us, my brother.
Thank you for the invite, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we getting ready to dive into like what brought this brother into the NFT space. So stay
Mm.
tuned, y'all. So Sean, tell us a little bit about yourself, my brother. Like, before we got into this whole crazy NFT and crypto space, like, what were you doing? How did you kind of get into all of this?
Well, myself, a bit of background about myself. I've always been into like branding and advertising. So that's what I studied in like university wise, but I've just been a jack of all trades, a guy. I've done everything you can talk about. So I've been in sales. I've worked in sales for many years. I've started up my own companies. I've done manufacturing in clothing and worked with brands. I've been in the fitness industry. I was really into the fit. I've competed. I've done bodybuilding. I've won competitions. So I
Stop.
could
Cop
want.
Diesel.
I was on that, man. So I come from lots of different walks of life. But my first introduction into crypto was around, say I think 2017 for myself. Being honest, there, looking into the crypto space, looking to Bitcoin, Ethereum, um, more so Bitcoin on that side. I took an interest to the blockchain. I understood that the blockchain was something special, the technology and what it can do, and what people will be able to do with it in the future.
what
And
what made you feel like it was special? Like, what about it made sense to you?
what it was is because it was the whole decentralized point is being able to do things without having a gatekeeper. I thought that is going to change the way we do. I mean, if you think about industries through like different industries, the financial industry hasn't evolved in years, and it's being run by the banks pretty much. And as you know, with everything going on with the interest rates and what, we're not going to go into the whole financial thing, but the banks control everything pretty much. And if you're not educated, you'll be affected. And a lot of people tend not to be educated, and they are affected. And rather than educate themselves, they moan about it. That's what happens. So, but the crypto space, I felt like it was a new beginning. The blockchain was transparent because the banks don't control it. Obviously, if you do, I don't know if you want me to explain what blockchain is and how that
No, you
works.
don't have to.
Okay,
People can
okay, cool,
Google.
cool, cool.
They can go onto
Yeah, yeah,
YouTube.
go
But yeah,
ahead.
curious of like what struck you, which because I feel like for all of us, there's something that strikes a chord where we're like, okay,
The
this is a real
transparency,
technology.
bro. It was a transparency, being able to go back to the origin of something, the beginning of something. So I found it really interesting that, okay, then we have a lot of trust in businesses, in banks, but why do we do that? Why do we trust these? Why do we say that when they say this is organic, why do we trust that it's organic? How do we even know? But with the blockchain, you're able to trace that back to the origin of where things come from. And that's what I found really interesting, because when we've got that transparent side, there's nothing no one can hide. You know what I mean? So that's what I found really interesting. And
Hmm.
obviously with everything going on, that's where it was going, isn't it?
Right, right. So tell us about like when did you first get into NFTs? Like, so you're getting into the blockchain, crypto, and all of a sudden NFTs must have hit you somewhere. Where along that journey was that?
So the blockchain, crypto, I was investing in crypto. I wasn't a heavy investor in crypto. I'm not going to go out there and say I was investing heavy. I was just interested in the technology. I invested a little bit, but it caught my attention really last year. I was in it last year, June wise, and the NBA Top Shots. So I don't know if you guys are aware of the NBA Top Shots and
Yep.
what they've done, but that really caught my interest because I'm into sports. I'm not really into basketball, but into sports. It brought me back to when I used to collect sticker books
Yep.
and stuff like that, and I thought, oh, that's what it is. It's just evolved, hasn't it? And now you can capture these moments and make money with it, which I just thought it's strange. I just thought it's never happened, but it just made sense to me. I mean, I played games all my life, so maybe because I play games and I understand that's kind of a gamifying thing, it makes sense to me. So that caught my attention, and obviously the amount of money that was being exchanged with it was within the millions. Or I think it was like 260 million within in a week of transactions, and I thought, okay, there's something's happening here. and then looking on people that are talking about like Mark Cuban, and then obviously Gary V entrepreneur started talking about it, and I was like, okay, then these guys, I feel that when certain people are paying attention to certain things, you need to pay attention.
Right. Right.
And the thing that excited me about it is the fact that it was so early. There wasn't a rule book to it. There wasn't, and it still is. Like
Yeah,
there's
I was
no
gonna
rule book
say
to it.
it's
Yeah,
still
it still
super
is. It still
early.
is. And no, but everyone was just very, very curious and thinking, okay, what is this? What can we do? Everyone just being very playful with it. And I thought, okay, this reminded me. Reminded me of. I can imagine this. I feel like this is the same time as when the internet came around or when social media came around. Because when I was reaching out to people, they were reaching back out to me, and these are people that are from high statuses where you generally wouldn't come in contact with unless you had something to offer. But
Right.
when you mentioned NFTs, you went through that route. Everybody was open to speak,
Right.
and that was a magical thing. I thought this how it must have been in Silicon Valley. That's how I visualized it, and I thought, okay, I've really got to pay attention to this. I've got to dig in and learn from now, because in the next 2 years, or way things are going, maybe sooner, you're going to be very valuable if you know what's going on in this space and you're connected. And that was my introduction to NFTs, really.
I love it. So you're seeing Gary Vee get in, Mark Cuban, right? The technology's making sense. Are there any projects that you were finally like, okay, I'm gonna put some money into and let me start getting into, like, what it's like to own some NFTs? Have you, like, are there any projects that you're personally interested in and kind of invested in?
Now, more so now, I am. When I first got into it, as you know, I'm the founder of NFT Talks. My approach is that, okay, then I'm not a designer, create a 3D designer. I'm not going to create something and sell an NFT. So I thought, what can I do? What can I do to be involved? So my main thing was to think, if I can't, I know there's a lot of gold here, let's sell the shovels. People are going to come into here and find out what do I need to do? How do I get involved? So the educational route I went down is because I was obviously educating myself, and I thought that people are going to look for education. And if you're not in the crypto space, if you're not up to date with technology or tech savvy in any way, I can understand if you're sitting here looking at what's going on and thinking, what's all this rubbish? I mean, I can understand that. I can understand that. And I mean, when I told my friends and peers, and they were like, yeah, I understand it, but why would I do that? And I definitely thought there's an opportunity to provide a platform to offer simple, digestive information to get them an introduction, and then people can go on to obviously do their own research and find where they fit within the space. So my first experiences with NFTs was never buying. I learned, obviously, I looked at how to buy and for educational reasons, but I never purchased any of this. I mean, I was lucky enough to be given some, because this is what I mean. Being early, I was connected with people, and they were like, "Oh yeah, thanks for helping me out with this. I'll send you over this," and it's still like that to a certain extent. Like, people are very just. I feel like I get a good vibe from the community. I mean, I don't know if you've been involved in the community yourself.
Yeah, I
But
have.
the energy
It's a really good vibe from the community. Very open and sharing, and abundance mindset is kind of what I would say.
Yeah, so that's my first experience. But if we go to actually purchasing the NFTs, I'll tell a story, man. Like, I missed out on the apes. I was there in the clubhouse when, I mean, I don't know if you go on Clubhouse yourself, but genuinely, the early
I was
doors.
in it more before. I kind of took a big break, but yeah, I've been in there diving
Yeah,
in.
it gets a lot, man. To Clubhouse does. It gets on top of you. I mean, if you got things to do, you can't dedicate all your time to Clubhouse. But when no one was really speaking about NFTs. I think the only people that really had rooms is NFT Tips. They had all the artists in there.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, but yeah, like, I remember the announcement for obviously the apes, and then everybody had the apes, and then was like, follow these guys, go mint this. And I was at that point, I was generally just paying attention to the space. I wasn't really looking to purchase anything, but obviously Bored Ape Yacht Club, look what they've done, man. Like, they've done amazing things. I mean, I think the mint was at like $200. I think the floor price now is like $150,000 to $200,000.
Unreal.
And then they're doing airdrops with the mutants and
apes,
the kennel
serums.
dogs, the serums, and they're just instantly worth grands. Like, it's crazy.
That's
but
crazy.
I mean, it's exciting at the same time. I love it. I just love it. So that was
Yeah.
my introduction. But if you want, I know I'm kind of going in and out
No, it's all good.
of it, but projects. You want me to mention projects that I've looked.
Just stuff that you're interested in, you're talking about Bored Apes. You don't have to be
Yeah,
invested, but just
Bored
things
Apes.
that you've seen that you're like, okay, this is a really interesting project because you're really in the space and kind of
Mhm.
looking at what's going on.
All right, so I'd say Bored Apes definitely a massive project. If you're going to create a project yourself, like they created a blueprint. Obviously, CryptoPunks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel that they've got the status because they were just took the name for one of the first NFTs,
Yeah, one of the
one of
OGs.
the OGs NFTs, and um, I mean, what NBA Top Shots, obviously, that really caught my attention. If you look at PFP projects, Crypto Rasters,
Mm-hmm.
like that's kind of the flip side to the
The
crypto
punks.
punks, but
Yeah.
it's about the reggae culture. Like for example, yesterday I was in Crypto Voxel and they had like a performance, a live, like a dance, like an event, and you go in there and you click the screen and the performance and people are in there and it was just a nice vibe. So I
Yeah.
think them guys are doing great things. What else? Ah, Monster Rehab,
Mm-hmm.
like NFT Media Box, they're doing loads of NFTs. The Arabian Camels. They've got another one called I'm going to shoot myself now. What's it called? The Shadows. I can't remember the exact name. The Shadow, but obviously you check NFT Media Box. You go check these guys out. They're doing a lot of NFTs. But what I really like, they're doing a lot of things for the community. I like to follow people that are doing things in the community and active in the
Mm-hmm.
community.
Right.
Rumble Kongs. Have you checked them guys out? Like,
I have. I have.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, and what people don't know, I've interviewed the founder of that Rumble Kongs, and what they've got planned and the background he isn't openly spoke about that, but once he will execute on what he's saying because he's
Right.
got the background and he's linked with Sandbox and whatnot. So
Mm-hmm.
I expect some great things from them too.
That's coming. The Sandbox you mentioned, I think that has so much possibility. It's almost like almost 75 to 80% of the really large real NFT projects are have some type of roadmap to go into the sandbox. And
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if you
yeah.
just think about that, right? Like what that's going to mean for the sandbox, as an NFT project, as a gaming platform. I think that I think that's a huge signal that so many people are like, we're developing for the sandbox. Zed Run, and I've seen the apes talk about it. Pretty much all the large ones are like, we're doing something in that space.
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I never really thought about it. You're right. You're right. A lot of these, a lot of the projects are done with the gamifying side of it. I mean, I'm not sure if it's down to what they can offer, but yeah, like it makes sense. I think what I would say, man, like if it makes sense to you, just look into it and research, and you might find an opportunity within this space, man. Like
Right.
it's an amazing time to
Mm-hmm.
be a part of what's going on. Like everything is new. There's so much creative people, interesting people that you can meet that you would never. I can honestly say I would never meet because
Right.
you would never be in the same room. But I'm connected with people like have spent years in their craft of doing lots of different things, whether it's music, whether it's digital arts or sports. But everyone just coming to this one space, and it's time for everybody to literally do not miss this. Like you kick yourself, and I mean, like I said, you'll kick yourself, and obviously there'll be opportunities in the future, but this is the start. If you're a creative, if you are interested in just being a part of something amazing and growing, and if you're interested in making money, now this doesn't mean that you're going to have to come and create a project, but be here, understand what's going on, because if you make yourself a valuable asset with whether it's with knowledge or offering a service, you will be needed. I'm telling you, because all these corporate companies, I mean, they're coming in.
They're coming.
They're coming. I mean, we got, and they're knocking on the doors and they're dipping their toes and then trying things, but they're not all going to get it right because they haven't took the time to actually look into the space.
Yep.
That's why you need to, at this point, I would recommend to anybody to make sure you just spend time and spend your time here. It will be worth it in the future. So that's for the younger generation, older generation. Everything's new. I wouldn't say anybody's an expert I spoke to the head marketer of Christie's, and obviously they're established. No one's an expert.
Yeah, everything's new.
Everything's new. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think there's there's so much opportunity, right? And to your point, it's not that you just have an NFT, it's how you do it, right? There's so many different ways to do it. And what's really cool about right now is that there's a bunch of projects that are showing you like here's one way to do it. Here's another way to do it. Here's how we're doing it. And you can kind of look at the landscape and be like, okay, they might have they might have fucked up. They're doing it the right way. So out of all the projects that you've seen, I'm curious, like, what's your favorite NFT project? And kind of like, let's dive into like what you like about it, like why you like it, and yeah, just who do you think is doing it right now?
It's I wouldn't say that I can't say who's doing it right because I don't think there's a right way.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a route for different people. I mean, NFTs are based around communities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you do it the right way, if you're providing something of value for your community, so however you choose to do it, it's just going to be valuable to the people that are buying it. That's it. So the right way, I don't know, but the ones that have really got my interest, NFTs. And are we just talking PFPs, like actual like avatar projects, or just
I'm talking
anything?
about anything that's out there. It could be gaming, it could be PFPs,
Mm,
it could be just one of one arts. I'm just curious, what have you seen and their approach and, what do
mm,
you like about it? Because I think that someone who's in the space, I think you offer a lot of value and just
mhm.
like, what do you think, not in what's right, but like, I
Yeah.
think it's important, I look at it like the artists are doing it the right way, the collectors are happy, like, creating a happy community.
Okay. So, okay, my answer to that would be okay. We'll start with I can't go wrong with Bored Apes. Like Bored
Mm-hmm.
Apes, I have to start with them. I will mention a few others, but the reason why I say Bored Apes is because they tapped into the community of the early adopters. This is what I think, that all the curators, all the people that are interested in NFT space, they brought the Bored Apes. And then if you look
How
into
do you
some of the
think they did that? Like, how did they focus on those people? Was it the
timing,
clubhouse?
I I think it's Clubhouse and timing. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you think about when Bored Apes dropped, there wasn't a project dropping every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now there's probably 3 or 4 projects dropping every day, which is becoming very saturated, and that leaves people. What do I buy into? What do I? And it's between like, do I buy for the to flip, or do I buy for value? Like I think if you're coming into the space, you just need to buy for value, because if you try and buy for a flip, you're never going to know. You can't predict what's going to happen with a project. So I feel that the Bored Apes, what they did is they tapped into community for the right timing. That people that were all builders, so they believed in NFTs, they were creatives, and they got behind the project, and then they delivered on their roadmap, and they were consistent, and they were doing innovative things, and they were just doing things at the right time. I just think we were the first to do things, and it just visually it looked good, you know what I mean? And
The
they
art
managed,
was great.
yeah, and they managed to create that hype like around it, like it made you want a board. I mean, there was CryptoPunks are worth a lot, and it's like, yeah, but Bored at Yacht Club, I look on it, I'm like, yeah, like I just like to have one, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like they've just done that right, and so I can't say how they've done it, but I feel that the community is strong. They've got the whole thing that apes follow ape, you know what I mean? Like they all follow each other, they all support each other, um, and then it's just obviously they've got the whole merch side of it, and then now they're starting to collaborate. So obviously, I know they did a collaboration with the hundreds. They did that drop. They've done a collaboration with Artifacts now with the trainers. I don't know if you've seen that. That's recent.
Mm-hmm.
They did a collaboration with somebody else with the basketball, but I'm not sure what brand it was.
Mm-hmm.
But they just keep coming, man, and I can't knock them
Right.
because every time they don't die out. They every time they feel like you're not gonna, they drop something else, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's just hot on it, and they're just doing it well, and it's executed well. I don't hear anyone moaning about the way it was dropped or
Right.
any struggles on that side. Everybody just gets on with it. So
Right.
I'll start with them, the Bored Ape Yacht
Mm-hmm.
Club. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this
They're
ain't
doing
fun.
they're doing a great job. It's like it I come from the fashion space, right? And so what you were talking about, in kind of like the trouble in pinpointing it, it's because it's like it's so many things coming together, right? Like when a brand does something well, like let's say like Supreme,
I knew you was
right, or like or Ralph Lauren, it's like,
Mhm.
is there one reason why people like Ralph Lauren? It's like
No.
no, right? It's like there's so many reasons. It's the fabric, right? It's the way
Mhm.
he's done his fashion shows. It's the way he does his marketing, right? It's like and it becomes almost intangible because it's so many things stacked up,
Yeah.
which becomes like a lot harder to pull off, right? It's like it's easy to pull off maybe a good drop or maybe good artwork or maybe you got some influencers, but it's like there's so many other things, like you said, timing in the marketplace and who else is doing what. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's really fascinating to just kind of try to reverse engineer it and see like what did they do right, in comparison to other projects that aren't cultivating the same community. Let's say
Yeah.
that beyond the value, let's just talk about like how they're cultivating a community and then that creates value in itself, right?
Yeah, yeah, I 100% agree, man. They're just very in tune with what's going on. They seem very in tune with what's going on. So, and everybody seems happy. I never seen everybody. I mean, the only one thing I've seen they did at one time was there was, and it was even the way they handled that situation. So there was a NF, there was a board ape with I wouldn't even describe what it is, but it was I think it was a Japanese symbol
Mm.
on it, and that was offensive to some of the people within some of the society, basically. So people had called them out on it, and all they did is they made an announcement. They said, "Look, this is what's happened. We didn't know this would reference to this. We apologize." They reached, but before that, they already reached out to the owners. They said they told them what it was. The owners agreed. Okay, cool. We'll send you an updated NFT, and that's it. There was no bad
That's it.
mouthing. Just that was
Boom.
straight away. You know what I mean? Like that was just very smooth. Nobody complained, and it was more like people respected them for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, that's cool, and it's nice. They didn't have to do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that's why I say that they're just doing things right. But obviously, like I said, I feel like they're one of the hottest. They are, if not the hottest, projects at the moment.
Yeah.
But another project that I feel that's going to be really big is going to be the the Monster Rehab.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
talk about
So
that one.
yeah,
I'm not super familiar. I've seen it around, but I'm not
yeah.
super familiar with what they're doing, what their roadmap is.
So they're like, okay. So the founders, the founders Master Buzz. So they own NFT Media Box. So they help people in the community create NFT projects themselves, but they also release NFTs, NFT PFP projects. And the Monster Rehab is based around a story of characters, these horror characters and whatnot. And what they're looking to do in the roadmap is be able to do it. They're going to do a comic book. They're going to do an animation series. They're going to do like put it on Netflix. So it's going to be like I see where the concept and where they plan to go with it. It's going to be a lot of value in it within the long run. So they're investing a lot of time into the project. It's very long term. Like projects that look long term and they are pushing on that. I respect that. Now I know that didn't sell out straight away. I don't think it even sold out, to be fair, to my knowledge. But they made an announcement today that they're doing a comic, so they haven't stopped. You know what I mean? So
How
the
many
short,
did they mint? Do you know where they're at in the minting process?
no, I couldn't really tell. I'll be lying to you if I knew the exact
Yeah.
amount how much they minted, but they minted. I think they did mint a decent amount, but I'm not sure how much. I'm not sure, but like I said, for that though, like the things that they're doing, people that stay true, they're pushing forward. They've got real good intentions. That's the projects, and then people that I feel that can actually deliver on them intentions. So yeah, like so they're the projects that I like, and obviously Crypto Rastas once again, man, like 20 years within the reggae culture, the sound, digital dubs, and
They're
they're doing
minting
things
right
I've
now,
never seen
right?
people do.
I believe they're still minting, right? Not to cut you
Yeah, they're
off.
still meeting, so that's still available. Like that didn't sell out straight away. Some projects sell out in minutes. That hasn't
Right.
sold out yet, but
Hmm.
I haven't seen that they've done things. If you're talking reggae, if you're into the reggae culture, the things that they've done dubs. They got Sister Nancy to drop a crypto rap. They got reggae, like retro, like veteran reggae artists talking about crypto punks. Like I just think that's just like I ain't seen that before. Like nobody is doing that. So
Yeah,
I
Lee
thought,
Scratch Perry, who rest in peace. I
yeah,
know
yeah,
he had an official crypto roster.
yeah. He was one of the. what do you call it? Like he supported the project. He supported the project, and he passed away on the drop, which is just crazy. Like it's about
crazy.
but like, I think they're doing amazing things. So there's lots of different projects I can point out, but I just feel like anybody that is really offering value to the community and they're going to do well and be consistent within that. Like, so yeah.
So what would you say to someone who wants to get into the space? Let's say, whatever they are, they're a designer, they're a developer, they're a fan of art, right? They're a businessman, they're an investor. Like, what are some tips that you would give to a newbie who's just now learning about the space? Maybe some YouTube channels, some resources where they can go to and really start wrapping their head around like how they can approach this whole industry.
I say it starts with education, brother, man. It starts with education. I think that's the case for everything these days, isn't it? But education, stay on top of things, and be open-minded. There's so many things happening in this space. Some of the things, I mean, for example, I was reading about, I don't know if you come across it, loot. I'm thinking like, what the? Personally, I'm like
the loot boxes.
But it's a bit crazy, but you have to be open-minded and think, okay, then where are they going with this? Why is it so special? And take your time to research that, because you might see opportunity within that, and you might be able to help, and it might be something for you to do in that space. So if you're creative, if you're an artist, you're interested, you want to YouTube, give your time into the space, invest your time into it. And I'm talking YouTube videos. Now, when I come into the space, there weren't many videos, and some of the people that were talking about it, they didn't even, I could say now, they didn't know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? So, for example, I remember watching a video with is Rohan, I think his last name, the founder of Flow, who done NBA Top Shots and whatnot, and CryptoKitties. I went onto his video that he'd released from his channel, and it was only I think it was like 300 views. I'm like, this is crazy. Like that's how I knew it was so early. I was thinking, there's nobody who's trying to find out what's going on.
Right.
So invest your time, educate yourself. And then once you feel that you have a decent knowledge of what's going on, stay updated to what's going on, because things are changing every day. And then just trying to figure out, where do you feel that you will fit? Don't think it. I mean, the last thing you want to do in this space is think about the money, because you don't know whether you don't know if you're going to make any money. And I wouldn't give any financial advice. There's people that have gone and created things because they're a master of their craft, and people appreciate it, and they're buying, they make good money. Like, you do what you do and deliver and do it to the highest ability that you can do it, and then the market will respond. If it clicks, it clicks. If it don't, it doesn't. And that you'd have to go down another route potentially, or stick at what you're doing. I don't know people's financial situation, but education, and then do something that you enjoy and put it out there and connect to the community. That's another thing too. Speak to people like yourself, like me. Reach out, drop DMs. If you check my DMs, like, I'm telling you, like, people DM me now, but I was up in people's DMs, like, and I still am to a certain extent. I will, like, I dropped you a message, didn't I? I saw I dropped you a message. Yeah, like, so. And yeah, so just to connect. Yeah. Like, so,
and that's what I love about this community, is like everybody is just one connection away, and it's just like, because we all know we're still here learning and growing together, right? Like we all understand that concept. It's kind of like early age of the internet, early age of like computers. It's like that's how technology really does build and grow. It's that mindset.
Yeah. So you just got to reach out. So another thing, community, connecting to people, like collaboration. This whole NFT space is built off collaboration. Like, people want to do things together and build together. So like, just reach out to people, man. So that would be my advice.
I love it. Do you have any resources, like websites that people can go to? Obviously you got your channel, but has there been anywhere else where you're like, this is a place where I go to and I've learned a lot from these kind of resources?
Okay, so DCL Blogger. So DCL Blogger, Matty's like, he's an OG, man. Like, he's been in the space years before anyone was talking about anything. So like, once again, Matty, like, if you want to find out the ins and outs, intricates, what's going on before to what's going on now, like, he's I'd say he's an OG in the space. So once again, watch his channel.
Yeah.
Um,
Follow him on Twitter.
Follow him on Twitter. Who else would I say? Obviously, NFT Talks. Like, follow us on Instagram. Like, if you just want an introduction to find out like little things that are going on, and reach out to me DM wise, and I'll help where I can. For PFP projects, Rarity Tool, that's an amazing platform. That's a platform where you can go onto. It's got all the latest PFP projects. It's got the ones that how they're doing for sales and everything. You can look on obviously what's going on there. You can go on. You got links for the website. You got links for the Discord. You got links for the Twitter, so you can see if it's popping or not. You can go into Discord. So, and also you can check the rarities of the PFPs and what you've got and whatnot. So that's another great tool to look onto. And then just joining Discords, like that's another thing too. Like, if you really want to find out what's popping, like, just join the Discord of whatever project it is, and you will find out. And you can literally DM the founders. I've done it many of times, you know what I mean? So just and reach out to people. Like, will, if you say you want any help, people will go in your DMs and help you with whatever you need to know. And just reach out again, man. So that's, I would say, in the Discords, definitely. If you have time, Clubhouse. Like, Clubhouse is good, but it's like, depends on what room you go in, depends on who's on stage and whatnot, and be prepared to spend a couple hours in there. But
I think those are great resources, great advice. So how can people get in tune with you, get in touch with you, Sean, and if they want to tap in and connect, what's the best way to do that?
Twitter. You can drop me a DM in the Twitter. You can drop me an email if you want to, obviously, something you want to talk about. So that's obviously, put the links in the bio or down there. And Instagram, like, I've replied to anywhere that anyone reaches out to me. As long as I see, I will reply, and I'll have a conversation. I mean, I can't sit there and tell you what an NFT is because I haven't that time. I'll just direct you to the right place. Right. But like, if it's something that I can help you with right there and then, I definitely will.
Dope, my brother. Well, I'll make sure to put all that into the show notes. Thank you, Sean, for tuning with us and just vibing, bro. Like, I think that you have a lot of information as far as just like learning about the space, how to learn about the space, right? And I think that's super helpful. So thank you, my brother. Thanks to all y'all for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, peace and love, y'all.
Peace.